Alex, the finale just happened. How are you feeling? Are you doing all right? It's very
Nah,
intense.
I am. It was made for us not to feel. It was made for us to feel something. I'm not all right because I know what that ending is about. I'm not all right. Although, May the Fourth be with you. May the
Same,
Fourth be with us.
and same to everyone watching.
Yeah.
It's very exciting going into Disney Plus today. We also have Mandalorian behind the scenes that I just watched,
Yeah.
which is great, and a bunch of artwork that's new there. But yeah, let's focus on this episode 12, Clone Wars
Yeah.
finale.
For sure. Yeah. And before we get into it, my name is Alex, and
My name is
Good
Ivan.
day. And we are the Kappa berries, blueberries. What are we again? You know what? Doesn't matter. We are here to watch and talk about what we just watched.
Mm-hmm.
The final episode, the series finale of Star Wars, The Clone Wars, and yeah.
I
Okay,
I
I
think
just
we're both
watched
happy.
I'm content. I'm
Content.
not happy. I know that It wasn't designed for me to feel happy.
Exactly.
For me, I feel like such a good emotional way to end everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I would add to that, emotional and simple, focused on what they wanted to be focused. It wasn't all scattered with like bringing like the Martez sisters at the last moment to save them. You know, an odd storyline like that wouldn't make sense. So I
Yeah,
love.
that's right. It's not bringing in an extra special surprise, another thing
Exactly.
to leave it
For no
open ended, and hint, episode 9. What the hell? Anyways, I mean, if you don't want to put that in, you could go ahead and remove that. But to be honest,
No.
I mean, it's honestly such a great way to finish things. You know that the people who are producing and who directed and wrote the script and who was part of the entire procedure of making the animation, getting the action, getting it so that you know that there is that inevitability, both from the script, the lack of speaking, the sound engineering, the
Well, the music, of course,
just
sound effects, everything. Yes.
It's amazing. And you know, it starts with such an interesting way of doing things. Just you just get this like it's such a synthy episode, don't you think?
Yes, and they bring that from the last episode. That same theme of those synths that are kind of like rumbling and taking you like forward, but in a sad way. And that's how they're conveying just sadness and like a longing,
you know how,
a sense of longing.
and a little bit of music theory behind it is that it sounds like it's hovering over something called the major key. So it's in a major key, meaning there's a minor and then there's a major key, usually in music. So when you start with something like a minor, it sounds emotional, it sounds sad. But when you start with a major key, there's a little bit of happiness to it. And there's this lingering, hovering tone of like this. It's almost like a 4 chord or a two minor on a major key, where they let the main note drone out, and then you get the 4th on top of it. And what it does is the 4 chord is an unresolved sound.
Yeah, suspended.
It doesn't look.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like it's made to be like this. It doesn't have a direction unless you give it direction. So as a musician, you have a responsibility to tell the notes, okay, what now? Yeah. We're still hovering, and you still feel this uncertainty throughout the entire thing, and it's like,
yes, and they make you feel it all throughout.
Yeah. So the first scene.
Yes, how they escaped. Because we were debating that last time. We're like, how are they going to get out of there? But they just thought, okay, she's the big muscle there. She's going to push them away, like try to disable them quickly. And he's going to stun them as well. So that's how they got out of there quickly.
So
Yeah.
I don't remember if I said that like if I theorized correct. Like I maybe had thought that she's gonna come up with a way to not kill them, but Darth Maul is just gonna keep killing them.
Ah.
I don't know if that's what I said. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. I don't remember.
But yeah, Darth Maul wasn't part of the plan.
Yeah. hmm the yeah there was, and honestly the biggest emotion is just the fact that it's about the clones, and on top of the clones, the droids as well.
Yes, they played a
It's
big part
just
from the beginning. Like they helped them
yeah.
get out of there because they would shut down like those
hmm
blast doors. So
hmm
that was really
hmm
cool. She's like, get us out of here.
hmm
I think he helped them out.
And there's like, other than the relationship that um, Ahsoka and Captain, not Commander Rex,
Oh,
has,
yeah.
because at the end of the episode, he mentioned that he was gonna get demoted, right?
Uh,
Stripped of his rank, then
mm-hmm.
executed like Ahsoka, and
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
like, "Yeah, I never really liked Commander anyway."
Right?
So he's
Yeah, that
back
was
to being
great.
a captain, which kind of like brings it to the him being a Captain Rex again in Star Wars Rebels, because he's
Yes.
the title of captain.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and man, my hair is weird. Anyways, um, man, it's just really about the process of him and her and the droids trying to get out of that
Trying
ship.
to survive.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
not at all costs. It's like trying
hmm
to not kill the stormtroopers, which is very hard when
Yeah.
they're shooting at you like constantly. So
hmm
that added a bit more tension. That when people are just escaping, like shooting, like taking everyone out, like they had
And
that
you know
extra
what?
layer.
I gotta say, like, there's a big comparison to certain episodes that are just fluff episodes
Mm-hmm.
versus episodes that add to the character's experience. And I
Mm-hmm.
kind of want to compare a little bit about this Ahsoka journey
Okay.
versus the Ahsoka journey that she had in episode like 8 or episode 7 of this season,
Mm-hmm.
where to me it was just fluff piece to like add these two random characters trying to smuggle spices to the syndicate
Yes.
and all that stuff, and it's like it's so heartless. It didn't
Mm-hmm.
feel complete, it didn't feel intentional,
Mm-hmm.
and their journey was just escaping the gangs.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And that's but this episode was just trying to escape the
Mm-hmm.
ship. Like that's
Yes.
all it is.
Yes.
And yet
But
it
with the weight,
brings it
emotional weight.
together. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's and that's kind of like why the like if I were to compare, like again, like I'm gonna keep sounding like a broken record, like if this is how you end the series, this is how you bring elements from other places together. You use small things like the droids. You
Yes.
use the relationship that they have with the clones,
Mm-hmm.
and you use the desperation Darth Maul has. He plays a very small part,
Mm-hmm.
and and
But
you
I
add.
think the cool thing when you said a small part, it reminded me of though there are like so many like simple ideas, but that have a lot of weight instead of many
Mhm,
ideas that have little weight and don't add up too
mhm,
much. So Darth Maul, he took out while they were escaping. He took out the hyperdrive system, the whole thing, which was really cool how he did it. And
oh, okay. I take it
that
back. That's
simple
not a
thing.
small part. Yeah, it's a simple thing. It's a simple thing. It's not a
But
small
that
thing.
simple idea, him taking that out
Yeah.
because he just needed to get out of there,
hmm
that because he knew he couldn't stay there longer. 'Cause he was gonna end up getting killed.
Yeah, he's
And
the decoy. Yeah.
yes, it worked. and
hmm
and it's that simple idea, and it has huge consequences for everyone in that ship, right? So
Yeah.
that's like one of those little moments that I'm like, that's beautiful. It has gigantic consequences and it's very simple, and it's
hmm
for a reason. It makes sense. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm also like not even sure where to begin and where to end and continue in the conversation right now, just because everything is like going on in me right now. I
Mm-hmm.
decided to watch episode 9 to
Oh yes.
12 before
Mm-hmm.
this. So like I'm kind of
Oh yeah.
just
That
reeling.
you now that you watch episode 9 again, what can you say about Anakin
Yeah.
and I guess from Anakin
Oh
and
my
Obi Wan?
God.
Yeah.
So a little bit of my take on it is like
Mm-hmm.
I keep thinking and asking myself about episode 3.
Okay.
Anakin doesn't want to lose Padme. Anakin doesn't want his vision of her dying to come true.
Mm-hmm.
And in this desperation, like you can kind of feel like on top of this, I remember in episode 9, Obi-Wan like and the Mandalore sister told Obi-Wan is like, "Hey, I thought you cared. Don't you care about our plan? I thought you cared about your like my sister." And so because of Obi-Wan's inaction,
Mm-hmm.
the love of his life died at the hands of Darth Maul
Oh
because
yes.
he didn't act. And
Yeah.
this is like,
Good
and
point.
Anakin's hearing this, and I'm thinking like, maybe this kind of plays a part
Mm.
in why he's like so desperate. Because in episode 3, he bows to like Palpatine and say, I can't lose her. I can't
Mm-hmm.
lose her. Like he almost lost Ahsoka
Mm-hmm.
to the Jedi Order. And not only that, so like not only is his like emotions being like played on, but he's starting to distrust the Jedi Order, and just like hearing that his Padawan who was wrongfully accused, the Jedi Order just ignored the fact that like they didn't listen to the Force. And then and so like all there's like this hint of distrust already
Yes.
before these scenarios started happening. And
Mm-hmm.
then you get to this part in episode 3 where it's like, I can't lose her. And it's almost like his, like, I kind of understand now why he's so heavy. Like, it's
Mm.
more than just Padme. It was almost Ahsoka. It was remembering Obi-Wan, his best friend, like a brother. His loved one died because he didn't decide to act
Yes.
out of love. He
Mm-hmm.
decided to like follow the Jedi Order. Like
Yes.
all of this pain came from following the rules.
Exactly. So, and all those rules came
Mm-hmm.
from the Jedi,
Yeah, and then
from the
just like
Jedi way of
remembering,
being. Yeah.
yeah, and just remembering Mace Windu and him being so passive and like deliberately ignorant of like Ahsoka's like level of value to them
Yes.
when
Level value. Truth.
he called her a citizen in episode. It's
Yeah.
such a passive thing for a Jedi to do. What a dick. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like at the same, and it makes sense that Ahsoka doesn't trust Yoda to tell her that I heard from Darth Maul that like Anakin Skywalker might be the leader of this, might be the one to lead us to the darkness soon.
Yeah.
Like that could have saved everybody.
Yes.
But the Jedi Order didn't do like they have not proven themselves worthy of that
Mm-hmm.
information, and
As
because of
well,
that, yeah.
because she
So
still
just like
doesn't think it's gonna do anything.
yeah,
It's almost like
all of
when
yeah,
it's almost like when the clones were finding these things about Order 66, and they were still having a hard time explaining it to the Jedi, right? They were like, well, we need proof beyond a doubt so that they
yeah,
believe what we're finding, instead of helping them, instead of working together with the Jedi
yeah,
to find the answer, which would have been so
and,
much easier.
and
So I can feel that underlying tension and distrust on the Jedi, even from the clones.
mm-hmm, mm, just this like,
Yeah.
and maybe specifically the clones that are so close to the Jedi,
Mm-hmm.
like the commanders, the captains. 'Cause Captain Rex was like with him all
Yeah.
the time. There's also like this one thing in episode what is it? Episode 6.
Okay.
This is like the older trilogy. In episode 6,
Mm-hmm.
Luke asked Obi-Wan's like midichlorians.
Eh,
he asked him like, why didn't you tell me that Anakin Skywalker is Darth Vader? You told me Darth Vader murdered my father. And then like this and then Obi-Wan said, from a certain point of view, Anakin Skywalker was murdered by the dark side.
yes. Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, from a certain point of view, the Jedi Order failed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like this
Of course.
concept of like
The
you have
Jedi
been-
Order failed Anakin, completely, because they let him die, basically, in that
Mhm.
transition.
Yeah.
Which is just
And just
so
like
tragic.
the politics, they talked about the politics of the Jedi. They become politicians, not keepers of the peace, not guardians, not people who help. Being a light in the Force, right? Like it just feels like that like spying on the Chancellor was like, from a certain point of view, spying is good. And like they're just using being political instead of being a servant of the Force. And because of their politics,
only the purpose of peace instead of conniving and like being sketchy and only.
And not even in the service of peace. It's like it's in the service of the Force. Like the phrase, I am one with the Force and the Force is with me. It's not about you or me. It's not about light and dark. It's about the Force. Like
balance,
if really it is, if it's about the balance, if it's not, it's about not balancing, not creating unbalanced, disbalance, then be part of the Force. Like do your part from that like perspective instead of like from a certain point of view, this was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
From a certain point of view, that's not Anakin Skywalker. Like quit being technical. Like
exactly.
who does it serve? Who did it serve? And it serves no one.
No,
and you
no.
and you saw it at the end.
Yes. But yeah, I guess before we get there.
Oh yeah.
To do that.
I'm speeding up.
Basically, I was gonna say Anakin, Asoka, and Rex get to the what is it called, the hangar bay.
Yeah.
Where they think they're gonna be able to get out and find a ship, but it's a trap, and they have a very good discussion. I wrote down kind of here what they said. Oh yeah, Ahsoka was mentioning, well, like they were discussing how are we gonna get out of there, and Rex says like our brothers are willing to die and take us both with them, right? So he's putting it almost like a black and white thing, as clones and as soldiers usually put it when they speak about in those terms of this is the mission, these are the things that need to be done. In that case, he was like, well, we have to survive no matter what because they are going to kill us. And while he says that, she takes a pause, looks at him, and she realizes that inside he's feeling more because she knows him very well by this point. And it's perfect because you anticipate that. When you see her take that pause, we also think the same thing. And that's the beautiful thing about the Clone Wars, is that it's made us believe in the clones as individuals.
Yeah.
Even in those moments. And when she takes that helmet off, it's like the perfect representation where he has a tear because he's following his orders to the death. He's being completely objective with the mission for survival, but still he's showing his real emotion as a individual. So I like that concept there.
That's a really cool point. Yeah. Isn't that crazy how like we know what's gonna happen to them?
Yes.
That's such a great I'm gonna shout out the biggest thing that is George Lucas mistakes and successes in creating the Star Wars galaxy universe. Like, props, thanks to you for starting it. Like, it is such an interesting phenomenon to me to realize that, like, this universe started from this guy's weird creation, and for some
a guy
reason,
who didn't want to make any commercial movies at all. He wasn't even thinking
I
of that. He wanted to do like
know
strange, odd movies. But
he's supposed to be, yeah, he's such an eccentric, like,
yes,
director, and he's only known for Star Wars, and
yes.
and like at the end they're kind of ruining it or something. I mean, let's not talk about Jar Jar.
Well,
let's not talk about.
Few
Let's
bad
talk
decisions
about.
here and there, but
But like the idea that, you know, like the community can actually get something amazing out of it, and like, to me it boggles my mind still that, like, we actually know the end of this Clone Wars.
yes,
But if George Lucas did not mention this in episode 4,
yes.
Clone
When he asked
Wars, like,
Ben Kenobi about,
yeah,
oh, did you fight in the Clone Wars? I remember that.
yeah, like, what the hell? Like, if you didn't mention that, I would have just kept moving forward. Like,
But it's great
what?
because it shows how much he thought about it.
And it's
when he
great
was writing
how
the original
much,
script.
yeah, and how he let the community take over. I mean, first prequels were, you know, whatever, but like, to give a world where people got so creative, people started writing books. You got fan fiction, you got the canon in the comics, you got Disney deciding to screw the canon and it's no longer canon and like make its own canon, and it's like, okay, this is canon, this is not. The games that add like more context to this world, it's like, and we like, it's still like just the end part, we know what's going to happen.
Yes.
And we still and we enjoy the process of finding the context of that world.
Yes, somehow they made that inevitability a big part of the emotion. Like, they used that to make us feel more. To make us feel that dread.
Which is like, I'm so grateful for this universe, Star Wars universe. It's like, I don't think I can, like, except for maybe J.R.R. Tolkien's Middle-earth, I can't think of any other universe that has been created
that affects
that
you
can,
as much as this.
well, that can create this phenomenon of, like, you actually know where you're headed. This is the timeline. I already know where the timeline is, but you still get dragged into like creating feeling for these characters and wanting to actually fill in the blanks. It's such an interesting phenomenon that, like, you just want answers. You just want answers, and this universe lets you do that. It's so cool.
I think it's great because it just poses a big question, right? You already go in it with a question, with an expectation that they have to meet and exceed, right? But I think sometimes fantasy stories fail when they don't have that big question. Also, like, when I remember when I started reading Harry Potter, I knew the end goal was Voldemort. That was the whole thing from the beginning, and you had that expectation that never stopped. You always wanted to know a bit more because when you came, when some Easter eggs were thrown with some characters, and you were like piecing things together, so that big overall theme was there in that one at least. And in the Lord of the Rings, the ring needs to be taken to the volcano, so you know that is the end goal, and how are we gonna get there?
Not even that. It's just like, even before that, the creation of the universe in Middle-earth, right? You got these like archangel characters. Not, I'm not into it too much, but you know, who's Mr. Colbert, who's that guy that has a talk show, but he's super into it.
Stephen Colbert.
Stephen Colbert, was that it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, like he's super
He's a
into
big
it.
fan of Star Wars.
All I know is,
Lord of the Rings.
yeah, all I know it is that you choose like some of these archangels decided to go and transform themselves into Middle Earth and started to rule there and started to conquer there. And there used to be harmony with all these upper creatures, upper beings out there. And because of these like cunning and very like ambitious other archangels, there became disharmony. There's some archangels that had like weird creatures that were made because of disharmony and all that stuff. And it's like all of this stuff happened. Yeah. And this is before the concept of the ring. And it's like, oh, interesting. And it's like asking the question, oh, what's in there? Like Star Wars did the same thing. Like maybe you have the Lord of the Rings, but what on earth is that ring about if you don't know the past? You don't know what happened. Like what's
it makes you more curious.
Yeah. And so like I grew up watching the movies first. Right. I'm not very good at reading. so, you know, like, I'm like, damn, it's such a rich story. The names seem to have value, and I wish I knew about them. And then Star Wars does this, and like the mediums, just the level of like love that the community had to put in this. So cool. So cool.
I know. It's so nice. Just how they've been concluding this, and I guess we can get back to the episode, to the moment when they find themselves trying to get through them, but before they try to convince them that Rex is almost capturing her, but letting her go just to buy time for the droids to get them out of there. That was good, because he's like, oh, she's not a Jedi. She's like a citizen, and she shouldn't be killed. And the other guy's like, no, you're gonna be killed for treason as well. So screw you.
Yeah, you will be demoted from commander to captain before we kill you. And I'm like, oh, because I was about to wonder that, because in the way he was introduced in Star Wars Rebels, he kept calling himself captain. Right? And so maybe that just because of like, for I don't know, just like a memento, just to call yourself captain instead of commander or whatever, because right now he was commander.
Maybe he felt like he failed all of his comrades in that position, so he doesn't deserve it. Something like that. Yeah,
absolutely. Or I mean like the fact that he got demoted by Jesse, I was like, oh, okay. Technicality done.
He took that too hard.
they took it literally, so I'm like, great, okay. That would have been like kind of like an irking feeling in me, but not too big of a deal.
Yeah.
And like, what a great thing to witness how powerful the chip is, and how
that they cannot do anything about it.
How vital it is for us to realize that yes, we invested and valued these clones all these years as the friends of the Jedis. And I'm sorry to I'm sorry to say, like, I know you want them to be good. I know you want them to really change their minds. They painted their masks Ahsoka's face. I know you know that they love that. But I'm really sorry to say that this tiny freaking chip in their brain that was planted there before their conception, right, or in the process of their like development is powerful enough that all of that goes to the wayside. It doesn't matter. I'm so sorry to say, and you know that's gonna happen. It's like, Alex, you know that's gonna fucking happen. Like that's what's gonna happen. Like, you know it. Is that and it's like, I
know.
I love that there's no apology for it. It's like, is that okay with you? Is that cool? It's like, no. Episode 4 needs to happen. Episode 4. Episode 4. Because with that, and it just really stresses this war
Mm-hmm.
is Star Wars. Like, this
Mm-hmm.
Clone War is one of the many wars that happen in this universe.
Yes.
And it was big enough that the light side of the Force, which is like encapsulates this entire galaxy,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe more, right? But like the light side of the Force was deceived.
Yes.
Like that's how big and impactful this is. So for me to value the clones, it's almost like thanks for
They.
doing your part, for making
Yes.
such a great story. Like without
Mm-hmm.
your sacrifice, and it hurt so bad. Like when
Mm-hmm.
they were fighting them without remorse, and them
Yeah.
still not trying to kill them, and you know
Yeah.
that they're all gonna die because the ship is crashing.
Yes, and they're not thinking of their
It's gonna-
survival. All they want to do is kill them.
It's not. Yeah, it's like, are you crazy, Ahsoka? Like this is a game that is rooted in honor. Like I
Mm-hmm.
know we're all probably gonna die, but for the sake of my unhypnotized, unbrainwashed, unaffected love for and loyalty to the clones, I'm not gonna kill any single one of them on purpose.
Yeah.
That's not gonna be on me. God, that's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. And I
Yeah.
also don't want to die. It's like that's
Well, yeah.
like if you're gonna, I mean, sure, if you've got what it takes, and Ahsoka obviously did have what it took.
Oh, yeah, just barely.
Wow,
But it
just
was
barely.
great. It was great when they were when right before the incredible lightsaber moment happens. There's another incredible moment when Darth Maul tries to get out of the ship and she tries to pull it back. Whoa,
Mhm.
that was beautiful. I was
So-
like, what the hell?
Mhm.
Like she's that powerful right now.
It's crazy, isn't it? I think also, you know what's funny, like, and we're getting to it because that's where we're at with the scenario. But like, can we take a moment just to appreciate the droids?
Yes,
Because dang, the droids, bro, like
they have a lot
they've
of
been
honor. So they're willing to go down to the very end and die.
yeah, and I think so. Chip is voiced. He's not just like a bleep bloop bleep bloop. Chip, the guy that,
Oh, yeah.
that kept going trip trip trip. I don't know who the voice. I think
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
I don't remember who the voice actor is. Shoot, I should have. I didn't have time to research. I just watched it. I watched so many Star Wars today. Last night, actually, like at 1:30 in the morning, started. Ah, man, and like, them executing the plan with the platforms going up and down would not have been possible. Like they literally would have been
Oh
massacred.
yes, yeah.
Without
they had no
the droids.
no chance. The droids
No chance at
played
all.
a necessary step there for them to survive.
And oh my god, I mean, and also because they got distracted, Darth Maul got away and all that shit. But you know what? Whatever.
Yeah.
He's meant to. I mean, thanks to Solo. I have some thoughts on that, but like watching Solo and knowing that Darth Maul is still part of the syndicate and still is a big part of the fear around all of the gang clans and stuff. It's like, I guess he has to get away. He sounds desperate again. It's crazy, but so funny. It's like he had the intercom of the clones, one of the clones. But
Oh, yes,
he
I
does.
remember.
He
He was listening to it.
doesn't. He actually doesn't know that there's a ship left.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? And he decided to destroy the the warp speed, like the actual like the engine that produces light speed.
He's like,
he did.
screw it.
You know what?
Bring
If
it all
I'm the
down.
distraction, I'm gonna be the best damn distraction ever.
Yeah.
I don't care where we stop in hyperspace. I don't care.
Exactly.
Oh, right. I need to get out of this ship. I don't.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I need to live now, and it's like such an illogical thing to do. But like,
Yeah.
cool.
I know. And like, it's just sorry, I'm so tired.
Yeah, it's a
They
big day.
yeah. Um
Hmm.
yeah, just every moment was great. But when she
Hmm.
takes those lightsabers and cuts the floor around them in a circle, it's like
Oh
what the
yeah.
hell? That was crazy. It was
Hmm. Hmm.
beautiful. I was like,
And
ooh.
yeah, actually, I'm gonna mention something about the Force afterwards. But yeah, we finally see in
Go for it.
detail what's underneath
Uh-huh.
that platform. Isn't that cool? I was just like,
Oh
oh,
yeah, yeah.
it's the
Yeah,
mechanics room. It's
yes,
like, oh,
basically.
that's where
Yeah.
all the crap broken shit is. It's like, okay,
Well, they
cool.
have all the other ships and all the stuff, yeah.
Yeah, because you ever wonder, like, so for those of you who aren't familiar with like West Coast um, islands and stuff, people we have like big ferries that can take cars and people across from like different islands and stuff. And so there's like layers of the ship. You have the
Hmm.
layer for the vehicles, and then you have the layer for the passengers, right? And you always wonder, like, these ships are so big. And in episode 2, the Clone Wars, the Attack of the Clones, it's like how like where do the vehicles go? Where do the
Yeah, yeah.
starships go? Where do the
Yeah.
men stay? Because they gotta stay somewhere. They're not just
Uh-huh.
always at attention while they're flying in space. So
True.
for me, I got kind of excited learning a second
Seeing
level.
that, yeah.
Like,
Cool.
yeah,
Yeah,
so it's like a small thing, but it's like visually, I was like, oh, cool.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now,
Yeah,
now I get
yeah.
it.
Now you get the behind the scenes.
Yeah. and and they have to find it's just a, like there's no other script except staying alive and finding a way out. That's all
Yes.
this show is. And it was
Yeah.
still so deep
Mm-hmm.
because they're still surrounded, and they just were just relentless. Like Jesse was just relentless. He was at the bottom
Mm-hmm.
level and just said
Mm-hmm.
blast them. It's just it.
Yeah.
Just blast
Yeah.
them.
I'm like, dude, don't you think of your own safety? It's just like they just the last thing that was in their mind was survival. It was just taking out the Jedi. The only mission. It's crazy.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah.
like when they try to escape in the little ship and she fails to go on it. I'm like, oh my god. And they have that incredible scene when he's trying to search for her. Like she misses once and then she skydives again and finally reaches. And I think that's a good moment for the show as well. Another moment. I
Hmm.
think there's two moments where they could have screwed up that. They could have brought in. I just keep going back to the Martez sisters because it's just like a random plot from before in
Hmm.
the season, or in a movie it would be a random character from like the first arc of the movie that comes to save people at the last minute. That's such a annoying trope. And I'm
Yeah.
glad they didn't use it when Darth Maul escaped. And
Hmm.
again, when she was getting into the ship, that they didn't celebrate that because in another show there was very that would have been as well written. They would have probably been like she would have gotten in the ship and they would have been like yes, and then the ship in the back exploded and whatever, and they would have celebrated or something. But in this case,
Mm.
the reality is that there's no reason to celebrate. They're traumatized because they know all their friends are dying right now in that ship.
Yeah, they're like literally falling.
Yeah.
Like they got.
Hmm.
That's right. That's right. And
And
like,
you feel the weight because when she goes into the ship, he kind of looks like depressed, and she also like they don't even say a word. They don't need to say a
mhm.
word. They're like, ah, we made it, but
not
it's
only
all
was
tragedy.
not only was surviving today pointless,
But we're
like
gonna have to
we
remember this
are
tragedy
literal,
forever as well.
and like the ship
Hmm.
full of clone troopers are still falling,
Yeah.
right? And
So
that's so
that moment
crazy.
is real. It feels real. Like the emotion from them. It's
Yeah.
perfect because it's what they would actually feel. So you're in it 100%.
Yeah.
And then when they
I was so in
land
it.
and they bury them, that
Yeah.
was whoa.
Oh man. Yeah, there's so much to say about it. Absolutely so
Yeah.
much. And like, not because there needs to be anything said. It's just like, I think for me, this entire episode, it's the promise that it's going to end.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't. Again, there's no surprise.
Mm-hmm.
It's inevitable. And so they just gave it the episode, the episode that deserves to just be played out.
Mm-hmm.
It's a goodbye to the clones and hello to the Empire. Victory and death. Like,
yes, those were the only things that
yeah,
were in play. No saving anyone at the last minute with a stupid character. No, nothing that was unrealistic. Everything felt realistic.
yeah. There wasn't a surprise save. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Like what you said about the two failed. Like what could have been a failure of like the delivery and value
because it's
of these
usually
characters.
a trap that the writers always go into. Like they always want like a hooray moment at the end, and it always deflates the intensity of the situation. Like you see it in every movie now. It's kind of annoying. You know when it comes. They have like the slow mo, and then you're like, oh, okay, there it is.
It always comes. It always comes. Like before it was like dramatized, like there's some theatrical, exaggerated gestural thing as we were just developing the like film medium, right? Everything's like overacted as like not only in like visuals and in acting but also in the script. And so like saving someone that you really want to keep alive so that you can make more episodes with the like it's just another like theatrical way of adding things, and it's just that like we've turned it into a formula, and
that
thank
we
God,
expect and we see coming from miles away.
I'm glad that like you said, I'm glad that they didn't do that.
And I think that was great also for Rogue One. That was a similar ending for Rogue One. It was like quite depressing, and it was perfect because they knew exactly where they had to be in the story at the end. They didn't have to try to trick you in any way. They knew they couldn't survive, and that Darth Vader was gonna come and wreck everyone.
Yeah.
And here Darth Vader comes, and that moment was quite unexpected when she finally drops the lightsaber and they change to the future. I was like, oh my God, stormtroopers, that's great. Ah!
That was cool. Nuts. I wonder what do you think that like let's dive into it just a little bit. Like, what do you think?
But in a few minutes,
her dropping.
We're not gonna have enough space in the computer.
Okay. What does her dropping the lightsaber symbolize, you think? And what does Darth Vader looking at the lightsaber for a long time mean? What is he thinking? What do you think?
I think for her, it means that she finally realized what Darth Maul was saying was true, that a new power is now in place, and that she cannot be known as a Jedi, or she has to go into hiding, basically. And also the reality that when Order 66 happened and she listened to Anakin through the Force, turning to the dark side, she also kind of abandoned that side of her because she kind of can't do anything about it. So she left that behind as well. Because I guess it would remind her of him and the pain that causes. And for him, I think it might have been just like a simple... I took it as something simple, like... Because he doesn't see himself as Anakin anymore, but maybe he keeps it as like a little souvenir, like, oh, look at that little thing from my old life. But he thinks about it. He stays there for a second, brushes it off, and sees the helmet, because the helmet has a huge significance with the coding that was representing Asoka. So that was such a poignant moment because of that helmet as well. Like both things were tied to that moment where they last saw each other. And for him, it could have been just a small moment like, yeah, this was what I did in my past life and whatever. I'm just gonna keep it just as a reminder, but not necessarily as a good thing, or something that gets some positive or light or the light side inside of him. But it didn't
Yeah.
change him, but it was a little reminder. What do you think of
Yeah.
both?
I thought that, like, just to add on to your idea of it, like being tied together with just giving up,
Mm-hmm.
but also as like her saying goodbye to Anakin,
Yes.
because it's no longer like, to put it in Obi-Wan's terms, like from a certain point of view, Anakin died, and for her to hold on to Anakin's saber is like, but he doesn't exist anymore.
It's just painful.
He doesn't value. Yeah, he's not. If I ever see him again, and of course he does, they do see each other again. It's like, this saber will not represent Anakin, and he's the person that'll be seeing it is not going to value it the way I do. And so I feel like the pain kind of goes both ways. It's like, it's too hard for her, but it's also going to be it's not going to be useful. It has no value to anyone anymore.
Yeah.
And also kind of just a symbolism of the Jedi Order. She's given up on the Jedis, and
she knows they're all screwed.
Like
if it was that hard for her to get out of that situation.
Yeah, and it's just like, because the episode 4 title is A New Hope, right? And the death and the victory, the death of the clones and the victory of the dark side, I feel like, there's nothing for her as a Jedi, is like a really puts into perspective the title A New Hope. Because before this New Hope, there really wasn't any hope.
Everyone was on their own, just surviving.
So this is her letting go of any hope, any glimpse of seeing that good side.
Yeah.
And then Darth Vader picks it up and keeps it. I felt the struggle that everybody keeps saying, I can still sense the good in you, like every time they see Darth Vader. Like the people that love him, Luke, and Asoka, in Rebels, when they confront each other, it's just like, I sense some good in you. And this is like literally a piece of him showing that he's still got some good in him. And I also kind of was just curious.
Yes.
Yeah. And I also just like, that bird that flew by?
The thing is, like, I haven't seen Rebels. I know a few things about it, but I thought it was about Rebels, but I don't know.
I actually thought there was an episode where Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka were stuck in this prism shape holocron planet.
Oh, might have missed that one.
We were introduced to the father of the Force, the dark side brother,
yes, now I remember.
And then the light side.
Yeah.
And you know how like they transformed into animals, right? And then the light side sister was like a bird. I don't know. Because it was hovering. Like, why is it so important that this like unfigurable bird is there? Like, why do you need to make a shadow? And it's like, is she the light side? Because does that mean, because the dark side stabbed her and killed her, killed the sister, and the thing is, like, in the episodes where we were introduced to the actual manifestations of good and evil, that episode, the dark side said to Anakin, like, let me show you the future. This is what you become. So if you don't choose me, you're going to become the dark side.
Yeah.
So why not choose me now? And then it's like, but they don't remember any of that struggle. So this is just like fate fulfilled, destiny fulfilled.
Yes.
And for some reason, I honestly don't know. I'm just thinking, I got excited.
No, it's good to speculate. Yes.
Yeah, I got excited. I was just like, so the sister's alive? The sister's alive? So there's hope. There actually is hope. And he
Yeah.
does, and how beautiful it is that Darth Vader doesn't know or remember.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's great. Yeah, so that's my thoughts. That's my thoughts on the last part.
That's perfect. Great way to end the episode.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys, for listening. If you want, please subscribe. We're gonna put more content. We're gonna evolve. We're gonna see what we're gonna do next. But there's more stuff coming, and we're gonna do something interesting for you guys.
Yeah, and let us know what we had wrong, what we could have dived into a little bit more. Because like we keep saying, like we're just fans. We don't know everything about the lore. We just get really excited about the shows, the cartoons, the art of it, the music of it. So yeah, give us a shout if we got things to improve on. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. May the 4th be with you.
Same.